This video contains advertisement for xTool.
As you probably know, I have a personal vendetta against all boring things. And this is one of them. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love a good functional cupboard, but do they have to look like that though? I think not. Here's what I'm thinking. The goal is to try to transform these cupboards into a fantasy city. I think we should just space them out a little, maybe raise one of them up slightly so we create some asymmetry. When it comes to aesthetics, of course, I can't help myself. I love a good medieval inspired style. You know, classic wood beams, stucco walls, little stone bricks, shingles on the roof. And maybe we can even have some like fake stained glass windows, little tower on the side. Some ivy climbing up the walls, little signs sticking out here and there. Oh, and of course we need lights. Hello, some glowy windows to set the mood. Oh, this is gonna be good. But there are a couple of challenges we need to keep in mind here. First of all, I don't want this to look like we've just like slapped a fantasy city sticker on there. It's all flat and boring. Like, no, there needs to be 3D elements that are sticking out to create some depth. Secondly, it still needs to stay fully functional. The doors need to open just as smoothly as before. We need the same amount of storage. And also currently we're using the backside of these cabinets as easy access to all our tools and stuff. So that should all stay the same. And third, it needs to be sturdy. Like, we're gonna use these daily. So whatever materials we use have to live up to that daily usage. They gotta be solid. All right, well, I think a good place to start, as always, is just by building the base shapes. The things that are actually gonna, you know, stick out from the cupboards. Gotta make the basic, and then we can do the fun. There's just one minor inconvenience about the doors, and that is when you open them, it actually overlaps right here. So if we put anything on the outside here, it's just gonna be crushed. But if we move the hinges just like this much out, not gonna have that problem. I think the first thing we have to do is just to remove all the doors, get the hinges placed out a little further, just so we don't have any overlap. And then we build. And we should have plenty of space to do that. Just like a little more that way. All right, let's get you all off the hook. That looks so messy. Thank goodness for doors. Okay, hinges. Doors can now officially open, even if something is sticking out from there, no problem. So now let's grab this cupboard on the side, push it a little that way and a little up. See? Already looks a lot more interesting with just a little touch of asymmetry. Also added a little shelf down here, which I think we should try to integrate that into the design because it just feels like a waste of space if not. And then on the back here, just to like optimize the space as much as possible, we have created a little nook back here that has a shelf. So with long wieldy things like this, neat. Everything's in position, so next let's cut some holes for doors and windows and stuff, and also build those boxes that are gonna, you know, stick out from the doors. Dude, it's starting to look like a city! And we are almost done with the boring construction stuff. Just 2 more small things. First of all, I'm gonna cut some shelves in here. And secondly, this building needs a roof, like you see in the sketch. Gotta chop some wood, smack it on. So just a few more chops, and then the chop is chopped. And there we go. The base is complete. We've added a bunch of 3D elements, battlements at the top, we got these boxes sticking out, the roof on top there. But the best part is, everything is still completely functional. Like these doors can open just fine. And you know what that also means? We can move on to aesthetics, baby! Woo! So we have the main structure in place. Almost. It's just, as you can see, we're now left with a bunch of empty holes that we need to fill with something. So we're gonna make 2 sets of doors and a bunch of windows. 2 of them are gonna be stained glass windows, which we're gonna get back to later. But for now, I'm gonna begin with these doors. And well, normally I would just cut these doors out with a jigsaw, but I have a great loyal friend that is begging to help me out. Sir William, the third of his name, a loyal supporter of Nerdforge. I hereby knight thee into the honorable house of Nerdforge. Arise, knight, and be recognized.
Normally when tool companies approach us for sponsorships, we're not really interested. We prefer to buy the tools we like. But they promised us that the P3 would increase our productivity and be easier to use than our previous lasers, so we agreed to try it out. Here's me testing out the pass-through feature for the first time.
What the hell? That's cool. That is so cool. Do you realize the headaches this can save me in the future and just the possibilities?
I'll show off some of my favorite features later, but for now, the P3 has us convinced. I cut out the layers for the doors and the windows in record speed and used a box knife to create grooves in the wood to emulate planks, and also some smaller grooves to make it look sort of like hardwood that has undergone years of wear and tear. I make sure to hold the knife at opposing angles for each cut to get the depth I want, and man, this process is it's a proper splinter factory. So if you ever do this, protect your hands, or do as me, start collecting splinters in your hands. Final texturing touch, I used a wire brush to give these quote-unquote planks more visible wood grain. The window frames were also cut on the P3, and with all these pieces cut and ready, I could stain all the wood. I prefer using a stain to highlight the real wood as it lifts the overall realism of the build, as opposed to just painting a wood texture, especially now since we'll be relying on imitations for the rest of the build. And finally, I added some very fabulous sparkly rivets to this frame and painted it black, because this is gonna look like cast iron in the end. Hopefully. Okay, they do look like very heavy-duty gates already. Just look at them gates. The thing now is, I did intend to attach them now, but then I realized that down the road I'm gonna have to actually paint the cupboards and all the bricks and all the beams and everything else we're gonna fasten on them. And that paint is probably just gonna spill onto these and ruin them. So I'm just gonna leave these to the side and basically just start to cover up these units. I want to attach them so bad, but no. Use logic, Martina, not emotions, okay? So obviously we need to cover all the surfaces of the cupboards with something that looks like bricks, wood beams, shingles, and some stucco wall texture. And I think we're gonna start with bricks, my beloved friend. Luckily this time we're not gonna need 30,000 of them because they are gonna be much larger. But yes, I do still have trauma from that. I will never forget those days. And of course we are going to use my favorite material, XPS foam. It is dense, it is easy to carve, easy to shape, easy to texturize. But Martina, it's not very durable, is it? We will get to that, but first we need to cut them out. There we go, got a bunch of these strips. Now we just need to thin them down a little bit. And now we can literally just take a stack of these and instantly get a nice little stack of bricks. Ta-da! 4 bricks in one go. And then you just rinse and repeat. Wow, look at all these bricks. Kind of boring still, just very, very square. So let's fix that. like so. There, before and after. Now it just needs some texture. And what better way to add rock texture than literal rock? Yeah, I'm just gonna like slam it. Like that. And that was one out of many. But I think before we start texturing and shaping all the rest of these, we need to conduct a little experiment. Seeing as how easy it is to actually texture these, it's also easy to damage them. So we need to find the best method to make these durable. First off, regular wood glue. So it's really about finding the balance between being sturdy and just not having any texture at all. Next one, wood glue and paper. Paper towel. Plaster. Organza fabric. This is not gonna work. Final test, cotton fabric. I'm gonna put these to the side, and in the meantime, let's texture some bricks. Well, that was a whole lot of bricks, and this is not even half of them. We have another huge stack over there. We've also made a bunch of cobblestones, which is basically same technique, just the different shapes. So I am already feeling a little done with rocks. And since this took so much time, our test results are in. The glue has dried completely, and here we are. Let's just go through them all. First one, wood glue only, is like not really that durable. Paper towels, actually pretty freaking solid, but there's a lot of texture that you just can't get rid of here. Third, plaster one, very easy to dent. Like, yeah, just no. Organza, mesh fabric, no, just no. So I think the winner is contestant number 5, cotton fabric. Because like, it's a pretty fine weave, and no matter what I do to this, ow, it breaks me, not the other way around. Bricks, done, which means the next item on the list is Chinglies. We're gonna need a bunch of shingles to cover all the roofs up there. First off, let's just secure this foam in place, because foam has a tendency to just like fly away on its own little adventures. Okay, so now let's quickly just mock up some shingles in the software. Actually pretty good. Oval, and then square, and merge. Ta-da! A shingle strip. Like, I can literally just drop a piece of material in there. It takes a photo of the whole bed in one go instead of a million small ones. And when I close the lid, it uses LiDAR to autofocus on the material to get the height perfect. It auto-positions. It has a platform that lifts on its own. Like, I literally don't have to do anything. It is perfect for a lazy person like me. Like, there's nothing quite like just pressing a big, nice button like...
Yes, ma'am.
Ah! And then it just goes. And you can also follow what's happening from your PC, because there's 2 cameras. You got the front view and the side view. That's pretty cool. Well, would you look at that? We got some shingles, baby! Well, that was just 2 out of a lot of shingle strips that we're gonna need. But luckily, I'm saving some time with the help of William here, so thank you. Now chop chop. There we go. Some perfectly cut shingle strips. And also, I have this, the texture hammer. And Hansi just literally taped a rock to a mallet, which can now texture things. It's hammer time. Beautiful. So now we got sort of a rock texture. So these are now officially the stone shingles after we paint them anyway. Okay, so we got all our shingles done. We also got our bricks and our cobblestones. You know what that means? We can start to put on the bricks and do some assembly, baby! Woo! Everything you can see here that is brown is covered in a layer of glue, and I did end up only applying the fabric on top of the bricks right at the bottom here, where we're gonna have the most like potential for damage, because oh boy, applying the fabric as well, it just takes a lot of time. And like most of these bricks are never even gonna be touched, you know? So I decided to just focus in on those areas that are, you know, in the danger zone. And then everything that's covered in yellow is this stucco wall texture that we created from foam coat, a little bit of water, some paint, and some glue, all mixed together in a nice little goo. And then we're left with this nice, like, rough surface texture. You know, it's all about them textures in here, the variety. And then I cannot wait to paint these and make it look like actual stone and beams and stucco. So I'm very excited for that, but it's not quite dry yet, so we're just gonna leave it for now. And in the meantime, start working on some details. There's a few different details we need to make here, and looking at the sketch, there's mainly some hanging signs to like indicate what's actually inside the cupboards. And windows, the stained glass ones, yeah, and some other stuff, but those are the main ones. All right, let's begin with the best part, stained glass windows, baby! You know, it's been so many years since last time we tried to make a stained glass window. What up, fellow nerds? Martina here, and today I'm making a faux stained glass window that I'm talking back in natural nerd days, like pre-100,000 subscriber days. Now, at last, it is time we try to make a better, improved version of a stained glass window. You know, that is not actually made from glass. Now, Nerdforge assistant Isabel created these patterns to make our stained glass windows, and I have to say they look pretty freaking good. And also, of course, thanks to our P3 laser, the cutouts are just so clean. What an improvement! Now, the plan from here is to use epoxy resin to create the stained glass effect with all the colors and everything. So before we started, I made this plan of what I wanted the color scheme to look like. Basically, we covered the acrylic glass that is going to be the back piece in UV resin on the whole thing. Then we placed the pattern down on top of that, and then we cured the resin. And after curing the UV resin, we moved on to regular resin, which is going to cure overnight in like a 1mm layer or so. Basically, we just mixed in a little bit of pigment in the first cup, did all the light yellows, and then gradually reusing some of that, mixing a little bit more resin as we went, and then adding just a bit more orange, a bit more red, all the way until this like really nice deep dark red. The next day we did the same thing with all the blue tones. And finally we are left with some stained glass windows that I think look so freaking awesome. But we have to contain our excitement. We still have a lot more work left to do.
Okay, so most of the components we're gonna need to piece this thing together are completed. There's just a few more things, like the tower on the side there and some hanging wall signs that we need to make. And then we can move on to the satisfying part with painting everything, assembling it together, and finally adding a little bit of light and magic in there. I never thought this thing would be finished. And I know I say that every time, but it's because it's true. Like, we started this project more than a month ago, and when you start something new, it's always exciting and fun, you know? And then you get into the grind, and at some point it just feels like this will never end. But somehow we are here once more, you know, ready to give it that one final push. We need to like pull it all together, assemble it, and get things done. And this is also the best part. There's two best parts about the project. It's the beginning, then you have the middle part, and the end. These two are the good ones. And now we're finally here. And not least, it's soon time for my favorite step, the painting! Ah! All right, folks, let's freaking finish this thing. Ready? 3, 2, 1, let's go! Painting is done, which means we can start to like rip down all the plastic here and start putting in the details, the doors, the windows, everything. Guys, it is finally complete! It is over!
It looks so good. I can't believe these are cabinets.
I know! It's magical! Nori's like, oh, what's happening?
But we have been wiring all the LEDs. We have LEDs in this window, in this window, this window, this window, in these lanterns.
So many windows!
And I've tested them individually, but
Yes.
now we're gonna turn all of them on.
Oh, I can't wait. This is what we've been waiting for, Hansi.
Let's go! Oh, we have to turn them on behind here.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, are you ready, Martina?
Yes.
3, 2, 1. Wait. What does it look like?
The stained glass windows. Wow! Yes!
Oh, I love it!
Do you remember our first stained glass window?
I do remember, and I also know that this looks quite a bit better. But I love the lanterns, like they are so cute.
They're adorable. I want this in my house. We did it!
Yeah! Oh, that was hard.
Oh, jeez.
Sorry.
It's all
That
prickly.
made a noise. Question now is, did we hit all the points in the requirements list that you set in the beginning?
Good question. Well, first point was 3D elements.
I'd say this is pretty three-dimensional.
Definitely not a sticker.
I've already gotten this in my eye almost, so...
We might actually have to shave this off. It is a hazard a little bit.
Second, is it durable? It's durable down here.
Yeah. This part I'm confident with because of the fabric.
And there's a handle to open this, so that's nice.
Yeah.
There's no handles on these.
Yet.
So I'm just a little bit concerned about the foam here.
Yeah, I have thought about that. I think we should have some handles that are like hidden under here, because like grabbing these will probably not be good for durability. Number 3.
The final point.
Functionality.
Are they functional?
They are functional! They open all the way, even with all this stuff sticking out. Everything
The only thing I noticed now is that they can't really be open together. So I guess they're 90% functional.
For the most part. Oh, I actually didn't think about that. But we just have to be careful, I guess.
These can be open at the same time.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Functional.
Functional. Confirmed. Finally, I just want to give a huge thank you to xTool for sponsoring this video. I mean, the P3 has saved us a bunch of time and headaches on this project, so if you're in the market for a new laser cutter, then please consider using our link below. It supports the channel, and also the P3 is just a great laser. So, link down there. Oh, and if you're interested, we're gonna put like all the patterns for this product up for our patrons. And that's all. Thank you for watching. And now, it is time. Let's have a look at the final result!